It wasn't long before Bill Prince did call.
Hello? You know who this is?
Once again, Prince brought up the Graham investigation.
Running your mouth.
He said he heard Andrews was talking to Sled, and he and Larry Marshall needed to be sure he wasn't ratting on them. But this time, it was caught on tape.
That kind of talk can get a person killed.
Bill Prince stated to Fred Andrews that if it's true what I hear that you're saying to law enforcement, a lot of people could get hurt.
You're gonna pay the price.
To me, that implied that for his own safety, he should not cooperate with law enforcement.
It appeared Prince was willing to kill his father figure for money, and any witness against him to keep them quiet.
We gathered all the information that we could. We went to the Florence County Grand Jury, presented the case, and they were indicted for the death of William Graham.
Investigators secured arrest warrants for the two businessmen. On April 6, 1989, deputies and agents arrested Bill Prince outside a real estate office. He was charged with solicitation of murder, conspiracy, and accessory before the fact of murder. When Larry Marshall heard of Prince's arrest, he tried to run.
Sir, can you step out of the car, please? What's this all about, officer?
But another arrest team found him driving out of town. They arrested him on the same charges in connection with Graham's murder. On May 6, 1991, at the Florence County Courthouse, the trial of Bill Prince, Charles McCrae, and Larry Marshall began.
What conversation did you have with Mr. Prince?
The state's key witness was Fred Andrews.
And, he said someone needed to be killed. And he said that man was William Graham.
On May 14, 1991, the local jury convicted Bill Prince and Larry Marshall of accessory before the fact and solicitation of murder. They also found Prince guilty of murder conspiracy, but it wouldn't last. The jury convicted Charles McCrae of burglary and conspiracy. But then, surprisingly, they acquitted him on the murder and arson charges.
You may approach.
Attorneys for the millionaires jumped at the apparent legal contradiction. They argued that since McCrae was acquitted of Graham's murder, their clients should be granted new trials. The judge agreed, overturning the jury's verdict, and released Prince and Marshall on $100,000 bond. The Florence County Solicitor's Office appealed to the state Supreme Court, asking that the guilty verdict stand. After 2 frustrating years of delays, the South Carolina Supreme Court delivered its opinion in December 1993. The court granted Larry Marshall a new separate trial, citing insufficient evidence against him alone showing intent to have Graham killed. Prosecutors decided not to pursue a new trial. There was more evidence showing Bill Prince actively sought a hitman to kill Graham. To the Supreme Court, Prince did order the murder. Legally, it did not matter who carried it out.
Ultimately, South Carolina Supreme Court upheld Mr. Prince's convictions for conspiracy, for solicitation, and accessory before the fact of murder, which carries a life sentence.
Prince's bond was revoked on August 29, 1994.
Miss Prince.
A team of investigators went to his home to take him into custody. He was to be held to await sentencing.
Okay.
But his wife said he had been gone for days. Agents searched the house but found no sign of him or where he went. Prince's truck was also missing. and investigators learned he had liquidated $190,000 worth of property. He had a head start and plenty of money with which to run and plan his next hit. After being found guilty of murder for hire, South Carolina millionaire Bill Prince jumped bond before sentencing. Authorities contacted the FBI field office in Columbia, South Carolina. Special Agent Joe Youngener was assigned the case.
The sheriff's office said that they had contacted his friends and his relatives, and they did not know where he was. Once we obtained federally an unlawful flight to avoid confinement warrant, then we started looking for Mr. Prince throughout the United States.
They needed to narrow the scope of the search.
I learned at that time that Bill Prince had a brother, Don Prince, who lived in Wilmington, North Carolina, and was an insurance businessman. And he had taken over some of the business affairs for Bill Prince.
They believed he might also be helping to hide his brother.
We decided not to interview Don Prince because we did not think we would get his cooperation.
Instead, Wilmington agents developed cooperating informants in his neighborhood.
Morning, sir. This is Agent Henderson. Major Williams with you.
When they knew Don was at work, they interviewed neighbors and explained they were conducting a federal investigation that required discretion.
Yeah, that's my neighbors.
Several recalled seeing Bill Prince with Don and agreed to help.
Well, let me leave the business card with you and ask that you give me a call.
And they knew Don Prince's comings and goings, where he went to work, where he lived, and proceeded to watch this and report to the FBI in Wilmington.
Within days, the plan worked. One neighbor spotted the Prince brothers outside Don's house. As promised, he contacted the FBI.
The Wilmington FBI office notified me that this lookout had actually seen Bill Prince there.